self-titled debut album, 10 years in the making, more or less. How does that feel? It's actually coming together.
I was literally like in the supermarket with my mum, like the day after it came out, and we went to the CD section that like I've been going to since I was like 5. And it was just such a surreal moment to actually see it there, and we sort of jumped up and down. And it's been such a journey, and I'm just so grateful to everyone who, like all the fans who made it possible.
No, of course, but you're just a talent, Freya. And as I say, it's been a decade of compiling these pieces of music, I guess, right back to school days, where actually a lot of the inspiration came from, because you had a sort of bit of a relatively tough time for a couple of years at school. You weren't that happy.
No, I think it's just anything that makes you different at school. Like I was like tall and a redhead and just like very badly dyslexic. So for me, it was like going to the piano room at lunchtime was my way of escaping that, and kind of like I'd sort of turn to the piano as you would like turn to a sort of best friend.
Yeah, it was almost a bit of a crutch, wasn't it, the piano?
Massively.
And even to this day, when you see a piano on stage, whether there's 50,000 people watching you, it makes you still feel like you're in that little room again. It's like a safety net, I guess.
Totally.
Yeah, I understand that. So Lost Without You is on the album, and we sort of have Love Island to thank for this huge, phenomenal success, because...
I love Love Island.
Well,
I really do.
Exactly. And once it was played, obviously, on the series, and then there were just millions of streams off the back of it.
It's honestly crazy, because like, you don't really ever expect a moment like that to change your life as much as it did. And it just, you know, you go from playing like a show to 100 people to like 200, 400, and then suddenly it's like, the next one we're doing is like 5,000. So like me and my mum are just still in shock. We're still just like, what's going on?
What a wonderful feeling. But like we say, you have done the pub circuits and the open mic nights. I mean, you were singing these songs years ago on the scene as such.
Yeah.
And here you are as this successful artist.
For the indie label to take a leap of faith, which they did, to like actually let me make the album that, you know, I've written every song on this album, and that's just not a thing that, you know, not many women are allowed to do this day and age. So I feel very lucky.
No, it's just wonderful. And there you were talking about it, like, gigging in pubs, and then you're at Glastonbury this summer.
20,000 people like clapping along. You just get this like full body chills. It kind of just hits you in the chest. It's like this raw. You feel like you're in like a film. It's just, I can't even describe.
How fabulous is that? And we've got a tour, of course, coming up later in the year. How is that going? I suppose you can focus
really
on
good.
that now that the festivals are kind of done.
It's crazy. I think it's the first taste of like just being able to give back as much to the fans as possible. And I like to make every single tour like even bigger and have like more surprises and more like exciting little moments that I'm working on at the moment. And I can't wait. I love being on tour.
Yeah, well, look, you're turning heads all over the world. And I know we talked about Game of Thrones, and in fact, your dad had a part in Game of Thrones a long time ago, didn't he?
He was the voice of the mountain.
He was the voice of the mountain, that's right. That was early on in it. And then you didn't watch Game of Thrones for a bit after that, did you?
I kind of dipped in and out, because every time I would dip in, like, he was in the pilot, and I remember he brought home the script, and I was like, oh, this looks interesting. But then he got killed, so I was like, oh, I'm not going to watch that, because no one wants to see their dad get murdered on TV.
Fair enough.
I've seen it many times.
Well, they, of course, some of the big characters were listening to your music, and Lena Headey, of course, heard your track and said, I want to direct the video for it. Who inspires you, Freya? Who do you like to listen to?
It's kind of like those strong, like very sort of like London fiery, not just redheaded, but like singer-songwriter women like Adele and like Amy and Florence. For me, it was like they were the women that, as a Londoner, like I looked up to. And
you're good pals with Lewis Capaldi as well.
Lewis. I'm so proud of. Every time I see him, he's hysterical. I love him to bits.
Because this goes back, doesn't it?
Yeah,
quite
like
a few
3
years, where you were just sort of both kind of recording stuff.
Yeah, we recorded our demos in the same room that I actually recorded Lost Without You. It's like just crazy to look back on those times now, where we'd like just be like, hey, like making cups of tea.
I know, and now you're headlining festivals together. I mean, it's just what a crazy time for all of you.
Oh yeah, I'm so proud of Lewis. I'm so proud.
It's just wonderful. Look, Freya, as always, it's so lovely to see you. And
thank you for having me back.
The album is out, tour on the way. It's all happening.
I can't wait. I literally am so excited.
Good for you. Lovely to see you this morning.
Thank you for having me back.
Freya.